support group. It is always looking to my rights. The 16th of June. Now, literally, to about 10 seconds ago, it was just me here because we've got Grant in. Nobody else. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm talking. So I'm not sure what Grant's doing. He's sat there.
Sorry, mate. I couldn't hear a word of that.
Oh, sorry. It's all right. Don't panic. It's just me and you at the moment. Don't know where everybody else is. I was worried.
On our own?
Yeah, just on our own. Literally, I thought I'd do half an hour just by myself. Which would have been funny.
Well, you could do a bit of karaoke, mate.
Could have done that. Could have done some jokes, do a bit of stand-up session. It's all right. It's all good. So how are you this morning?
Yeah, I am chipper, mate. Chipper, yes. Excellent. I've just been told I was a bit off form yesterday. So
quiet.
I had one of those days yesterday where I was literally back to back. And I finished at about 10 o'clock last night, and I did my regular Facebook Live. And apparently, I was a bit jaded.
It was funny because I watched yesterday's back, and literally, it was one of those about 10 minutes before I came on air. I had a quite big conversation with somebody, and it was stuck in my head all the way through the show. And you can see me, I'm like this because I was thinking about what the person had said and not listening to anything anybody was saying, which is unlike me. Chrissy has just said yes, they can hear me, so that's fine. Thanks, Chrissy. So yeah, it was yesterday was really weird, very, very weird. I think it was the atmosphere because the weather.
Yeah, must be what it is. The electricity in the air.
So I don't know where. No one's given any explanations why they're not here. So we'll just crack on.
I'm going to say Maz's internet.
Do you think so? Oh no, that's right. She said. Sorry, she's having it fixed. Yes.
Yeah,
she did say. You see, I wasn't listening yesterday. That's the thing. So a few things I want to touch on today, and it's probably great it's just me and you actually, because it's they're saying there's 600,000 jobs have been lost during lockdown.
Wow.
I mean that's just on the back of the
UK, yeah,
system. Yeah, just UK. That is. That's just working on the payroll system because obviously it's fast now, isn't it? Payroll reporting, and. There was 600,000 less payroll applications in May, I think it is, and which means there's the people not working. This doesn't add, obviously, to the furlough system, which runs into the millions of people who are being furloughed, and that will be happening and ending in a couple of weeks for a lot of people. I know they're still carrying on into August, but I think a lot of people are coming off that, and I think that number's just going to go up, unfortunately.
Well, I think it's the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? Again, we try and put our common sense head on. There's still going to be a lot of people that are on furlough. My wife's still on furlough. Hopefully she won't be made redundant, but, who knows? And there's a lot of people are being, kept on, but the chances are, I mean, look what BA are doing.
Yeah. It feels like they're using it as a bit of an excuse to get rid of some jobs, which I think is wrong. It is wrong. I mean, I had a phone call yesterday after the show yesterday from my mortgage company and just asked how I was. And they're saying, really? Because they're just saying, obviously, they've extended the holiday, the mortgage holiday. I didn't take it originally, but they're just saying, is everything okay? Do you need to extend, or do you want to, take it on up to October? And so
I thought you took the mortgage holiday.
No, I didn't in the end. Didn't take it in the end. No, I looked into it, didn't sign the forms, so I just carried on paying.
Do you know what? And it was you that encouraged me to do it.
Sorry. Well, I looked at it, and it was putting. I mean, without getting the ins and outs of it, I'm interest-only mortgage, and I've got a separate entity to pay that off. But it's, you did end up doing quite a considerable amount after the 3 months. But they offered me yesterday, and I'm thinking, shall I or shall I? I mean, things could get worse over the next 3 months, but it's in place anyway because I applied for it as such. They sent the forms through. I didn't sign them, but it's there. I can just ring them up and just activate it straight away, all the way up to October the 31st.
I'll tell you what happened. We're at the beginning of lockdown. We had this conversation on the show about it, and what they were saying was, take the mortgage holiday. Obviously, everything was up in the air back then, and I was thinking, well, am I going to need to? I don't know. And as things stood at the moment, because we were all on action stations, and when you said, it's easy to do, and you said you were doing it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I went online to my mortgage company, and it was, again, really, really easy. I filled it out. Now, as it happens, I didn't need it. And so I got back in touch with them. So I basically didn't pay my mortgage for 1 month. And then I got back in touch with them when I found out everything, was actually going to be okay. And I reinstated it. But the thing that really bothered me about it is that, I really ummed and ahed about doing it, because I hate the idea of adding to my debt. I want to be paying my mortgage off, not, not put it to one side. Yeah. And I did it just out of a, because of the unknown, just in case. It was because I was because I was reassured that it wouldn't affect my credit rating at all. Now, this is really important to me because I was looking to move house this year, as I've said on the show before. And in order to apply for a new mortgage, I would need to make sure my credit rating was spot on, which it is. They've since said that it won't affect your credit rating, but they will be able to check whether you did it or not.
That's right. So what does that mean?
That means, it might not affect you. Yeah, it might not affect your credit rating in terms of the numbers, but it will influence whether or not where you sit when you go to another mortgage company. Yeah. So I'm now contemplating just paying it back, and the 1 month that I missed, because I don't want that. I don't want that on my record.
No, that's right. But where's it? Let's just say, morning, Mark. How are you?
Morning, mate. Yeah, good. You muted me. Yeah, good.
Jolly good on the roof of Birmingham.
Yeah, that's it. I thought I'd come out on the roof just to show, obviously, the skyline.
Where are you going to jump off?
Beautiful city.
It is a beautiful city.
Up there. I had my lunch on that roof yesterday, Mark.
Well, I feel that I want to talk to Ben about hosting an event up here.
So that's a good idea.
He's still confident on that one.
So we could squeeze one in, couldn't we?
Well, is there, Mark, I just want to double check, mate. Is there a reason why you're choosing to go to the office the days I'm not there? Because I was there yesterday. You're there today. I'm there tomorrow. I take it you're not going to be there tomorrow.
Drop something.
Now you've said you're here. No. No, my wife works from my office, or she likes to call it her office now, on
as it is
Tuesday and Thursday.
That's all right. That's fine. We'll allow that. We were just talking about the mortgages, Mark, because I was contacted by my mortgage company yesterday to see. I didn't actually in the end take the mortgage holiday, but they wanted to know, because they've extended it, if anything's if I'm in trouble or anything, or I'm stressed or anything, do I want to take a mortgage holiday? And I think this is all about mental health. I think that they're really pushing this home, because that was one thing that came across with the conversation I had, was that they were just making sure I was okay, which I think is extraordinary, at any time in or out of pandemic. So, it was nice that they were worried about it,
Yeah, I mean, we had taken the mortgage break, only because I'm running a small business, wasn't sure what was going on. Yeah, my wife's working all the time, but one income, all the rest of it. But we are at a point where we are now out of our mortgage. So, and we've been having some work done to the house before the lockdown and want to obviously get things finished. But like everyone who runs their own business, my credit history, don't mind saying, it's not great. So when they said you could do this, rather than using savings, we are using obviously the mortgage holiday then to try and get things done, because they wouldn't give us any money.
Well, that's. I mean, there's a famous man who said OPM. He loves his OPM, which is obviously other people's money, and it's always good. You know, if you can. I mean, it's not really borrowing other people's money. It's just extending what what you've already got. But as Grant was talking about earlier, right at the start, it was a good safety net, and it still is a good safety net because we really still don't know what's going on. You know, with those 600,000 jobs lost in the past month, it's. You just don't know where this is going.
No, absolutely, and I said it this morning on the update I gave after my run, all the rest of it. Get that in. Counts to 5K. Yeah, I'm doing 4K at the moment. 4K. Yeah,
Nice, well done. Good for you.
But ultimately, I was saying that it's like Grant says. There's always a positive that you can take from a negative. Yeah. All these people losing jobs right now, it just means the market's changing. And you know what? It'll be a good chance for you to upskill yourself, to possibly look at new opportunities, new business, going to get new gainful employment if you can. Or if you've been at that point where you've said to yourself, well, do you know what? I really would have loved to have been or set up my own business. Why not give it a go now? Why not give it a try?
Well, it's always a good time, isn't it, Grant? In recession.
100%. Yeah, we when you're made redundant, you get that lump sum. If it has been your ambition to start your own business, that's where that's what I deal with every day. Is I deal with people that are looking to start their own business, and a lot of them haven't run a business before, and sometimes you need a push. A lot of the people that set up their business, they do it out of necessity because they've been made redundant. So although it's horrible and it's scary and it's can feel like the worst thing in the world when it happens, we are you're being given an opportunity, and if running your own business is something that you've always dreamed of, you've just been given that little push.
No, that's it is. Oh yeah, because I mean I've done it. Well, I've never worked as such. I've always been self-employed. So that statement sounded wrong. I've been self-employed since I've been 18, so I don't know any other way of feeling or dealing with stuff. I'm
getting a lot of feedback at the moment, Matt. I don't know whether you are.
That'd be Mark.
Oh, it's Mark. Right.
Mark, we're just gonna mute you.
Be dreadful for the podcasts.
Yeah. I'm gonna mute you while you're not talking, Mark. All right. He can still hear us, so he can unmute when he comes in anyway. But yeah, I do love those 5 o'clock wake up calls when your mind is a whizzing and you can't sleep and you just want to get up and do something. And that's I actually enjoy that. I know there's a little bit of worry involved in that as well, but it is great fun. I just want to bring up something else now. New Zealand has had its first 2 new cases of COVID in 24 days. Have you heard about this morning?
No.
Yeah, great. Oh, Mark's nodding his head. Yeah, they've just. I'm just reading it off here. It's a case of 2 women from the same family have caught COVID, and they're tested positive, and they're visiting from the UK. So they've flown from the UK to New Zealand and gave them COVID. So I bet they're loving us at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, like, what a great publicity stunt that we obviously go over, we fly in, and we give them COVID.
It's
check the way in.
Oh, Grant's wobbling. Hello, Grant.
I thought they had really strong border controls.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've got dual nationality on their passport. Let's see.
But if they fly in, don't they get checked at the airport?
I don't know where their policy is. I mean, my neighbour over the road who's got he's Canadian and he's got a dual English and Canadian passport. He's going to Canada today. Straight in, no issues. So I'm not sure what
they did track him, didn't they?
So what, the ones in New Zealand?
Yeah, they tracked them in New Zealand. They knew that they'd gone to straight to the hotel.
Oh yeah,
they got in the car and gone to, was it Wellington? And they hadn't stopped off anywhere. They'd only gone to one person's house. So they've been responsible throughout all this, to be honest. I mean, obviously, Yeah. It just goes to show, doesn't it? Because yes, we're talking about testing, but are we getting tested?
Well, I was tested.
Oh, right. You come back negative.
Yeah, came back negative. Yeah,
Okay,
so that was
cool.
a waste of time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So I've got a question for you guys regarding the testing. I know this is one that you love to go on about, Mark. We've got the test. We've got the test that tells us whether we're actually, infectious, whether we've got the virus. Is there also a test you can have to see whether you've got it or not? Is that available now?
So, well, no, that's the available test. Is the one way to see if you've got it right now. The other test is the
Yes.
antibodies test.
Yes.
See if
Is
you
that one
had it.
available as well?
I think so, but don't you have to pay for that one? I think you have to pay for that.
Right. Because surely, if we do that and we've had it, does that not mean we can just go and do what we want to do?
no, yeah. I mean, Cheryl, bless her, was online this morning for the Gloucestershire one. She is a guinea pig. So she's been sent as a testing kit and chosen, probably because she's in that age bracket, I don't know, demographics, and she's been given the kit to test herself and to send it back.
To see if she's got the antibodies.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting.
So they're doing trials at the moment.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, yeah, they are pushing that, and that would solve a lot of problems once that's there, isn't it?
Well, surely that's a game changer, isn't it? If we've proven that we're no longer, liable to be a carrier or contagious or can catch it, let's just get on with it then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Life as usual. Can you turn him off again? Because it's
what you're making a copy there, Mark?
It must be horrendous for.
Yeah,
it must be horrendous for the podcast people. I do apologise.
Just that in the background. I must say that I heard of a scam yesterday that happened to somebody who worked at Tina's school. They had a phone call. Where are we? On Sunday, on the mobile. It was just a hidden caller. So caller unknown, and they said that they've been in close contact with somebody who's positive, and they were the NHS trace and track team. And they went, oh, okay, then well, what do I need to do? So, well, you need to order a COVID test to see if you are active or not. And they said, okay, yeah, sure. It said, I'll just need your credit card number. And it was a scam. Because obviously they said, well, just NHS, it's free. So no, it's £50 for the track and trace, and it isn't. It's free, and so it's an actual scam. So if anybody gets phone calls saying that you're being with somebody who's positive, because that would throw a lot of people into a little bit of turmoil, and they wouldn't be thinking about it. They get the card out, and that's it. You've been scammed. So make sure you're not giving your cards out over the phone to order a COVID test, which isn't great at all.
That is shocking.
It's awful, isn't it? It's just the things that go on. Oh well, it's a society we live in, unfortunately, isn't it? I mean, I don't know where. She reported it to police, but no caller ID, so don't know where it came from.
You can't track it, can you? No.
But surely, if a transaction took place with a credit card, they'd be able to trace the source merchant, wouldn't they?
I've had that before, and that's how a lot of credit card fraud takes place. But they can't always get to the bottom of it. They don't know, just because, I think, isn't it, once the money's been transferred to their account, they can't track it after that.
Well, but surely you've got to set up a merchant account. That's what I'm saying. It be PayPal or a full-blown Visa merchant account, and all those details are quite strict. It's even with PayPal or Stripe, you still have to have not credit checks, but know your customer checks when they sign you up on that. So surely, unless it's going blagging all the way through PayPal, and that's where they're pushing the cards through. I don't know, but it just seems phenomenal in this day and age that people can get away with credit card fraud just by taking the details of the phone, because they must have a merchant account. It is very, very strange. I mean, I've come across it many times over years when I'm selling stuff online. And I remember years ago, I was there was a massive scam that was going on regarding the sale of disco equipment. And when I had an online disco store, which I was selling gear to, this guy was buying stuff from all over the country. He was in London, and getting it delivered to this address, which was registered with the credit card holder, and just sat in his car outside all day waiting for the deliveries. And then when the deliveries came, he said, "Oh yeah, so I was about to go in. I'll take that. I'll time for that." And of course, in those days, there wasn't that many tests as they are now, and where they have to take it to the doorstep. And this guy got away with tens of thousands of pounds worth of equipment. Just ridiculous.
Do you know what, though? That just goes to show you. Oh, sorry, Mark, go on.
No, I was going to say, where there's a will, there's a way, isn't there?
And, there is.
Yeah. Obviously, I've never felt that I need to rip people off that way, but there are unscrupulous people out there.
Well, what always makes me laugh about scams, and let's face it, there's plenty of scams out there. And this one that we've just talked about is an example. So, we've just highlighted the idea that if you want to get a merchant account and you want to take money, if it's a scam and it's something that's illegal, you've got to work pretty hard to circumnavigate getting caught, which takes an awful lot of ingenuity and a lot of effort. Why do these people bother putting so much effort into a scam that is illegal, when if they put the same amount of effort into something that was legal, they could probably make more money?
Well, isn't there a thing that if you hack into a government computer, you'll get arrested, but then they'll offer you a job? Or is that just in movies?
I think that's movies, mate. You watch a lot of movies.
I'm sure it happened. I'm sure there was a hacker somewhere.
But what some people, I think, they get fascinated with the idea of having one over, of actually getting away with it. And it's, I mean, blimey, we've seen what's that program that used to be on where the famous where they keep doing like Ocean's 11, or these guys that go to the most elaborate and detailed extent.
Oh yeah, I know. Keep talking off.
Was it? Was it Spooks? Was that one?
No, Spooks was the MI5 one. That was. It was made by the same company.
Yeah. So, and you've got these elaborate hoaxes and scams, and I always think to myself, if you're that ingenious, why don't you just do something legal? If you're that clever, it's much easier to make money straight than it is bent.
Well, it is. It's just ridiculous, really, with the things that go on. And you do sometimes you think. So I'm just looking for this program. You do think how and why people fall for some of these, because they are. It's the balls of steel, isn't it? Really, no, that was another program. That is required. Hustle. It was called Hustle, Grant.
Oh, Hustle. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
That to do this, and I think it's confidence, isn't it? That if the scammer has got that much confidence and it emits and goes across the phone or even face to face, that you can get away with a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of people doing it. I mean, part of what I do is helping people set up their own business. Now, to do that, they pay me an upfront fee, and so many times that we end up having to go into quite a lot of extensive due diligence because somebody is really wary of being scammed. They're concerned that we're kind of just trying to take the money and run. And one of the early partners that we signed up did actually get scammed. In fact, I'll tell you a quick story. When we first set up in business, we signed up a partner who joined us and went through our training process, and our partners, we help them set up a digital marketing agency, sell websites and apps and social media, etc. And we give them all the training. There's a full resource center. Everything is there. What this guy did, he paid us the money. He joined up. He literally took every little bit of training, every little bit of content, and then didn't even change it. Uploaded it to his own system. Bearing in mind, he signed a contract, which is a non-disclosure. And he did, and this is the weird thing, he didn't even attempt to change it. Then he set up another business and advertised to get partners and effectively pervade to do what we do. But he didn't deliver. He didn't have any designers. He didn't have any developers. He didn't have anything. He just had all the content. And somebody signed up and gave him like, a few £1,000 to join him. And obviously didn't deliver. Turned out, I mean, this guy, I remember, he was working from his dad's house in his bedroom. So I phoned him up and I picked up the phone. I said, what are you doing? I said, you're not even trying to hide. You've basically stolen all of our content. I said, I haven't even, I probably don't even need a lawyer for this. Do you know what I mean? It's so blatant. What are you doing? He's going, right.
But that's the problem, isn't it? People will copy. And I know they will say it's a sign of flattery that someone copies what you do and obviously pushes out there. I don't call it flattery. I call it get your own idea.
But the difference with this, Mark, was that he copied everything and lifted it, but he didn't have anything to back it up. So I don't know how he was expecting to build websites and apps. I think he did have a go at doing it himself, but it was just
WordPress or something.
I don't know, but the point is that
Wix.
There's loads of there's people out there who in his mind he thought he was being entrepreneurial. All he was doing was scamming people.
That's
and one of our top partners famously does a testimonial about this, because she ended up coming to us after she'd already spent the money with this, but she was like really taking the back off the telly, because she was like, are you guys going to just take my money and do the same again?
I love that line.
People are out there.
Back off the telly. I haven't heard that for 30 years. I've got to admit, it's such a great line. But don't you find that these people who do copy and rip off ideas and stuff like that, I don't know anybody who's been successful when they've done that, because I've known that they may be initially, but down the line when they're not coming up with fresh ideas and changing stuff all the time, it sort of falls over for them unless they continually rip somebody off.
I got to be difficult with this one, because I haven't ripped anyone off, but I have tried doing what Grant does, and obviously getting out there with it, with trying to do digital marketing, because I understand it, but trust me, it's not as easy as you think it is. The reason I went back to doing what I know, and obviously it's like after 20 years doing networking, I felt like I needed to change, but actually I didn't need to change. I just needed to change a little bit what I was doing, and that's why I'm successful at doing what I'm doing now. But everyone will have a go. I feel that there's easier ways now. I'm looking back on that time. If I'd known Grant then, I'd have probably gone, I'll be a partner, because I was great at selling the stuff and I was getting the developers on, but I didn't know what they were doing, and it was just hard work.
I think innovation is the most difficult thing. I think you can look around and think, I could do that, and that's how most people start a business, isn't it? They think, I can do that. And then they don't copy it. They go and do their own thing, and I think the innovation is the most important section of an entrepreneur, because they can look at one business and then say, right, well, that's not right because it needs to be done that way, and that's how I'm going to do it. And that's the way you should do it. You should look at things and improve things. That's how Dyson did the vacuum cleaner. He looked at the Hoover and said, well, how can we improve this? And that's how he did it. So looking, but not a direct copy. That's a great story, Grant. That is really
well. It reminds me actually what you're talking about. I wrote a blog probably a couple of years ago now that was one of the blogs I got the most traction with, and it was asking the question: are you a business person or an entrepreneur? Because an entrepreneur is typically, in my definition, somebody who comes up with the idea, is creative, is innovative, who does the startup, who's the visionary, who's the one that's ready to push it. And then the business owner is the one that will take that business and monetize it and scale it and measure it and, adapt and progress. Now, getting the combination of those two things is a rarity. You know, understanding that you've got to be innovative and creative and have all the entrepreneurial drive, but then applying it in a business-like fashion. You know, is no us three sat here, you know, in varying degrees, are all struggling with that balance. You know, are we entrepreneurs or are we business people?
Massively. You know, Grant, over the years, and especially with obviously moving forward with what we're doing with the Business Growth Network, where the shows were, what we're trying to do with the general networking, where we very first started out and getting it to where it is now, it's been more of an entrepreneurial journey. But now it's the business owner approach that I'm taking to it, because other than, I suppose, when lockdown came, I had to be entrepreneurial again as to how I was going to change my existing model to be something which encapsulated the online. And I think we've done a great job with that. I mean, we've taken on around 30, 40 members in the last 6 weeks, offering them £20 a month to attend unlimited online networking events. And we're you know, 3 events a week gives us 150 online events a year. But that in itself, I needed to look at how I was going to manage it, what was going to make us different from everyone else, what was going to be different from what we did on the face-to-face. And as you know, we do with the online, we do a more structured review where we have an introductory round, we set up one-to-ones and we qualify those people. And yes, it is similar to what a lot of networks do anyway, but we are still different in as much as we're not doing exactly what they're doing. And then when we go to the face-to-face stuff, our approach is totally different. We don't do stand-ups. We don't do introductories. We don't set people up to have one-to-ones, and we don't force people to have a referral. So I think when we go forward, that would be a nice lean-in approach where people can go online, meet someone, maybe in Manchester, if they're in Birmingham, London, and then when they want to go to a face-to-face and there's a meeting down there, they can say, well, actually, I've met you briefly. I've had that pre-qualification, and now I am travelling to London or Manchester because it's worthwhile. But that's more of a case of to be sociable. No,
that's right. Well, I think it's the way forward. I think what you're doing is correct. You know, it's this whole structure is it's tentative. You know, you got to take very small baby steps as such as we get back into face-to-face meetings, but it's got to be done to get things moving again.
And that's where, you know, Mark, you've been, you know, really entrepreneurial, and you've applied your business head to it as well. And the challenge now, as you scale, is getting that balance moving forward.
It is a balance.
You can keep being innovative. You can keep, you know, challenging your entrepreneurial brain, but then every time you implement that new, because what I always talk about as entrepreneurs, one of the most, you know, challenging things that we have to deal with is shiny object syndrome. You know, and we're like, oh, I've got this great idea. It's awesome. I'm going to do that. It's brilliant. But Mark, what about the networking events you're running? Yeah, but I've got this new idea. I'm gonna do that. And that's us. That's entrepreneurs. That's the thing that I've been challenged with. It's like a disability. Honest to God.
I'm sure your wife and yours, Matt, is exactly the same. I talk because my wife's very black and white, as you know, police officer, straight down the line. I come to her and say, "Whoa, yeah," because I've been working on my own in the house. Yeah. God, what got this great? And she's like, after about 2 minutes, like, I'm not interested.
There is that. There is that.
What's going to happen in I don't know, an hour's time? You're going to talk about someone else? She said, but what I do love about it is you're always got some. Nothing's ever straightforward with you, and it's not boring. Is what she said. I mean, like 20 years of marriage.
We should have a show where we get the wives on. I know Mark, yours has been on, but because your wife is exactly the same as mine because what she says. But then again, she's really proud of what I do and how I do things, and I think it also would be a good day to have a show where we should list everything that we've done as a business entrepreneur, business person, from when we started out in business, and all the different things that we've done to show people that it doesn't always work first time. It takes a long time to get where you are, because you know, I've had internet cafes and all kinds of things that have sat there empty with the muffins going mouldy. Anyway, that'll be another day.
Remind me not to ever come to that.
Matt,
Yeah.
I'm just going to pick you didn't let those muffins go mouldy.
I did. I don't like muffins.
They definitely went home to the family.
No, they didn't. I don't like
Nobody
muffins.
bought them.
But anyway, just before we go, we've come to the end of the show. Hopefully, Mark is going to be very, very pleased because Thursday, 800 Gregs are opening on Thursday. Across the country, 800 Gregs are opening. So you'll be all right. You'll be able to get in. And they said they're going to open the rest before the end of the month as well, which is fantastic. Because we all need.
Wait for not going to Greg's.
I know there is that. We all need a cup of soup and a sausage roll, don't we? Because that's always splendid. Right then, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We will be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Take care.
See you guys.